I think I was 2 years old and I had a basketball in my hands. I've loved this before I loved anything else.
I remember taking him down to my high school when he was 3, and Jamal would just shoot. And it was amazing because at 3 years old, he would shoot on the big boys hoop and he would make it. And the high school seniors would be like, this is amazing. And then they said, watch, mark my word, he's gonna be somebody.
This kid always had this ball with him. There was a hunger inside of him that he actually had to get out. And it was by playing the sport of basketball.
When I was 16, things really took off because now people are like, okay, he has pro potential.
It was a brand new style of basketball that Seattle's actually never seen, with a 6'5" guard that can handle the ball like it was a yo-yo.
He might have been the most popular player in Seattle because everybody wanted to go see this phenom playing for Rainier Beach.
When I was playing in Seattle, we heard of a young kid at Rainier Beach that was a phenomenal player. When I went to go see him play, I said, this kid is going to be really, really special.
A lot of the pros, Gary Payton, Doug Christie, Sean Kemp, all those guys kind of took me under their wing. It made my dream so realistic. I'm like, I can touch it, I can taste it, I can get it.
This is Jamal Crawford before the bigs. (1980), Seattle, Washington. Aaron Jamal Crawford is born, and no one is more excited than his big sister, Lori.
I was picking my little cousin up from daycare, and they called and said, your mom's had the baby. And I literally, no joke, passed out right there on the floor at the daycare. And I always do this when I talk about him, but we've been that close ever since.
She was my older sister, but she's kind of like my mom in a way, you know, because we spent so much time together, and she was way older than me, you know, so she was kind of showing me the ropes.
He looks at her like that's his mom, and like we're all just young, and my mom's young herself, so it's really like we're all brother and sister. But she was the one who raised all of us from day one, and with him and her, he gives her the world, like he treats her just like it's his mom.
That was her little brother, that was her baby. It's almost like you can, whose son it really was, because they both treated him like that's my baby.
At first, when he was first born, I told my mom, I said, I promise I will get up with him, I'll do this, I'll do this. When he cried, I hear him, I'd run out of my room and I'd run into my mom's room and I grab him and put him in my bed and feed him and he'll just go on to sleep. So in those years I played a really big part because like I said, I told everybody, that's my little baby. And so I treated him like that.
Lori's a lot older than Jamal, so with her being the big sister and, you know, mom's working and, you know, trying to take care of things, Lori was the one that was there that had a part in raising him for his making, that she put her stuff on hold in order to take care of Jamal.
Everywhere I went in high school, he was right there with his basketball, 3 years old. He had been carrying it since he was 3, and he'd always bring that ball with him.
Me and Lori have always been close, and she used to take me with her to school. 5, 6 years old, I'm shooting on the 10-foot hoops.
He would shoot on the big boys hoop and he would make it. And the high school seniors would be like, this is amazing. And then they said, watch, mark my word, he's gonna be somebody. He's gonna make you guys rich. And that's what he did.
I remember the first time I kind of went through my legs and had to lift my leg up to do it, you know, and remember different stories. My mom would give me the Dr. J hoop.
All day, all night, it's time to come in for dinner. No, I want to play basketball. It doesn't define him as a person, but he loved the sport as a child.
I had like a really cool childhood. I remember having friends. I remember going to different schools, playing on different teams, but most relationships were formed through basketball, even at an early age. I remember my mom first signed me up to play 8, 9-year-olds. That's my first organized team. And you start with basics, okay, 2-line layups. And I remember I was doing like reverse layups and stuff, and kids are looking like, you're 8 years old, how are you doing this stuff? And I didn't know, it was just natural to me. So I've loved this before I loved anything else.
The first time I ever saw Jamal Crawford play, I was a Little League coach across the street at South Shore Community Center. And Jamal played on one of the, I guess you would call it, rival teams. And this is when he was 10, 11 years old. And back then, I think it was just his competitive nature. I mean, you know, he was on the team basically by himself, and we were kind of like the tough team. And I mean, he just gave us fits.
Jamal Crawford, 7th grade. Average sized kid, loved basketball, carried a basketball with him everywhere. He ended up having to move to California to stay with his father and his father's mom.
My mom and dad were never together from the point that I've been here. Like, I've never stayed in the same house with those two. I needed male influence because nobody could control me at that point. Not that I was doing so many bad things, it's just that I was doing what I wanted to do. And no 13-year-old child should be doing what he wants to do. Coming in at 12 at night or, whatever, I was running with the wrong crowd. So, not that I was in the actual gangs, but I knew a lot of people who were in the gangs and who sold drugs and stuff. And I could have easily been one of those people that do the same things. My mom was like, you gotta go with your dad. So that's why I moved to Los Angeles. I lived with him from 13 to 16. I used to have chores and everything. I'm like, man, I was in Seattle, I was 13, I was doing whatever I wanted to do. And when I moved with him, I had rules. I had to go to church every Sunday. It was a whole different world for me, from having all the freedom to having basically no freedom. Once he saw how serious I was about basketball, it kind of, not drove a wedge between us, but he would always say, don't put all your eggs in one basket, because he saw his hoop dreams kind of fail, and he didn't want me to experience the same pain. And when you're younger, you're like, why are you telling me this? I'm trying to accomplish something, it's my dream to do this. And so our relationship wasn't the best, because I always thought he was really hard on me, and he didn't really believe that I could do it. And I understand why now looking back, because he had the same kind of heartache. And so I left him at 16 and came back up here to Seattle and took basketball even more serious and started getting serious in school. Pretty much the sky was the limit.
Our games from gym to gym, unbelievable. They wanted to see this kid that they said had abilities that were NBA-like in high school.
To be honest with you, he might have been the most popular player in Seattle, next to Gary Payton and Sean Kemp.